Hey, so what's up everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Thrift Store Prepper. And you can see from the start we have a different angle and a lot of stuff in front of us, and what we've got going on today is a pantry makeover and modification stroke upgrade. A very exciting and enthralling video in store indeed. So without any further ado, let's get a customary angle going, and we'll have a little look at what's going on today. So as you can see in front of me, I've unloaded the contents of my pantry, or the majority of the contents. I still have a few items in the top there that we're going to work with, and basically all I have left are the condiments. But we have removed everything that was inside the micro pantry's lower levels, and there are a couple of things left in there, some oatmeals and some chocolate. But let's just have a little look at everything we've got and why we're having a modification and an upgrade. If you can see here, we've got a new addition to the pantry, and it's trash day here in Toronto, or certainly in my neighborhood, and some people would put some stuff out to be collected by the garbage people, and this was on the side of the street, and as you can see, it almost blends perfectly in with the decor, although it's not exactly art deco or anything very fantastic or fine homes. But it's certainly a lot neater than the storage containers that I had going on for a while. It certainly looks a little bit more homely and not like a basement or a garage, for want of a better description. But as you can see, it looks a little bit more like it's gonna fit in and serve its purpose quite well. Now, as this was another item that was found on the street, and it was actually found by my roommate and donated to me and the Thrift Store Prepper, so kind of keeping within the realms of things that we find and that other folks might not need anymore or be throwing out to trash. This has become treasure for the Thrift Store Prepper. So this is a wooden unit. It's pretty solid. And I guess what I'm going to try and do is put as many of the cans that I have here into this section, and maybe utilize the drawer space for the items that I had in my storage tubs. So as everything's out here on the floor, we can have a little scope, and it really doesn't look like that much when you kind of scan it like this and it's piled up, but we've got quite a lot of food here. And certainly, I'm somebody that's on my own. I'm a single guy. I don't have any pets to consider or worry about, or a nagging wife that is going to have dietary requirements should the shit hit the fan and we're in a doomsday type situation living out of cans. This is all stuff that I can eat and all stuff that I can work with. We've got some couscous down here, a couple of items. Now I'll talk a little bit about the couscous. Now, although this is an item that does require water, unlike other pastas and rice, this doesn't take as much. In fact, you really only need to get some boiling water in there and let it soak, and the couscous will kind of hydrate itself. And it's certainly something you can add to stews or to soups, or even have it sweet if you want. You can mix it with some dried milk and add some protein to it and have it kind of like a rice puddingy semolina type dish. So I got 4 pounds of that. That will go quite a long way in an emergency. And here I believe I have some pancake mix and instant pancake mix going on. I can't remember what this is. I think it's stuffing and something else that was once stuffing, but these are like random items that I got that from the early days of the Thrift Store Prepper that have found their way into my pantry and are still here. Now, I do have some more things in the storage tubs that I am going to unload as we go along. Certainly my ramen collection, I haven't got my ramen stash out of this. So what we're going to do is try and have a little bit of an overhaul and a makeover, make our pantry look a little bit more tidy than it was, and get rid of the storage buckets that are, a great idea for storage. I'm not saying that you should throw your storage buckets out. Just for me, I think it's a personal choice, and I think it's going to look a little bit more tidier and blend into the home setting rather than having some kind of doomsday bunker setting, which is, we don't really want to be living in that kind of scenario. So, we had a little look. We got some couscous going on. I have a bag of skimmed milk here and 3 bags of the 1 minute oats, which are pretty much the instant oats. You just need to soak them again when they do need water, but not as much water as the regular oats or things like pasta and rice, as we keep mentioning. And a lot of my preps are canned items, and reason being, these are things that I consider are fail-safe, and by that they are cooked items. They are items that you just have to open the can and you can eat on the go. And in case like the potatoes and the carrots, they actually have water in, so you have your cooking sauce there. You can even cook them and heat them up in the can. You don't need any saucepans or pots and pans, anything like that. So it's not the most exciting or varied pantry or items. We've mostly beans and potatoes, and we've got our proteins in the form of some luncheon meat, some ham, some corned beef, some Vienna sausages, and some recent acquisitions, the little cans of chicken. So, it doesn't really look that much, but honestly, this could last me, I'm thinking and guessing, if I really had to stretch it out, at least 3 months. And maybe people are scratching their head and thinking, no way would that last 3 months, but we're having to consider that in an emergency situation, we may not be able to get our 3 meals a day. We may not be able to get our full calorie or nutritional requirements and daily values and things like that. And we might have to get used to maybe eating only 1 meal a day, or maybe eating the same things over and over again. And part of, the thrift store prepper recipes and the prison recipes that I upload are ways that you can make the same foods taste a little bit different, and certainly demonstrate ways that you can cook with very, very small amounts of water and no kitchen type equipment or kitchen fires or barbecues or anything like that. You can just cook out of a bag. So I've got 8 cans of ham there. We've got 6 cans of corned beef, 20 cans of the Vienna sausage. I got 6 cans of these little Mexican salsas going on, which are just used as kind of seasoning, not necessarily a meal on its own. But if I just had a can of this and a ramen noodle, it's going to make a meal, a very basic meal, but it's going to be something this going to feed you and put a little calories and a couple of vitamins into you. So what I'm going to probably do is put the video on pause for a while we put some of the stuff into the new micro pantry section. And it is a warm day outside for a change in Toronto, and spring is starting to show its early head. So I am wearing shorts. So if you do see a little bit of flesh, that's why. I'm trying to get used to the warmer days, and hopefully winter is behind us. So, there's what everything we've pretty much have in the pantry since we've started there, with the exception of the tubs, which I am going to empty out after, once I make some space here on the floor. And with the exception of like the Zum Zums and the Wham Whams and my treat items that I was buying in the early days of the thrift store prepper, which were mostly for recipe purposes and kind of examples of things that you could be putting into your pantry, I've streamlined things and come up with the Sensi prepping and the micro prepping. And because I only have a small space, I'm only a guy on my own, low income, everything here is from the dollar store or from the No Frills. And when I do go to the No Frills, as you can see, the yellow cans and the yellow labels, it is the very, very cheapest items that we've got. And that's part of what the thrift store prepper is about, that if we are preparing for some eventuality that may never come to be, whatever that is in your mind, be it an EMP, a natural disaster, zombie apocalypse, alien invasion, one world government takeover, martial law, things like that, who knows why you're prepping. It may be just as something simple as for a rainy day, and maybe just for hard times it may come, but there's always an individual reason for prepping, and whatever that may be, it's not wrong and it's not right. But what I've tried to do is keep it as low cost as I can, and keep the items that I do prep, because I don't have much space, to try and pack as much punch as they can. And by that I mean, nutrition, protein, carbs, vitamins, fiber, yada yada, whoop-de-woo. You know what I'm saying. We want to get, if we don't have much food to be eating or to be going on with, then what food we do have, we want to be packing the most amount of nutrition that we can get out of a can. And certainly with these items, I have at least a veggie, a carb, and a protein in all of them. So my apologies for that interruption. That was my buddy of mine just popped round to say hi as he was in the neighbourhood. So I kind of lost a little bit where I was. I think I was in the process of about to put the items into the new storage system or storage unit, whichever you wish to choose. And then we're going to get the other remaining items out and do a little bit of rearranging here, and we'll take a look at the aftermath and end results of this makeover and modification due to our new upgrade. So bear with me, I'm going to go and start stacking. For you, it will be instantaneous. So hey, we're back, and we've had our amendments. We've done the upgrade. It actually took a little bit longer than anticipated, but we have a new look micro pantry going on. So let's come and zoom in here. We have a little bit of space, so mostly up here is my potatoes and beans, and more beans, and again there's a couple of cans of carrots in the back there, so we have some space to work with. And at the bottom we've got beans, boyardee, and some chili, and I believe there's some spaghettios in the back there. So as you can see, we've got a little bit of space to work with and some room to fill. But as for this one, we pretty much stocked it up. So in the bottom here, we have luncheon meat, ham, and Vienna sausages, and that's pretty much stacked that out. And we have a couple of the V8s there in the bottom. This drawer is a little bit of a tight squeeze, so basically everything I had in my store, my oatmeal, my powdered milk, my couscous, my dried potatoes that I rebaggaged in the mylar bags. I've got my instant mashed potatoes going on in there, and some other dried products, some sugars and salt packages that we made with stuff we had lying around in the early days of the thrift store prepper. This one here is my ramen supply, and you can see we've got room to work with here, so we're going to be able to get some more ramen going on. And up into this little drawer here, it's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but we've got our corned beef. Over here we have some of our little Mexican salsas, a couple of emergency ramens, so I don't have to dive into my pre-packaged ones. That's one bag of my fortified trail mix that I have left over. Some chocolate and a couple of Slim Jims. Those are like my treats. Again, I got some snacks on the top there that I'm probably going to eat on the remainder of my time off before I go back to work. I still have the one storage tub on the top. And we will possibly try to get something similar, maybe another container to put on top there or something, so I can make that look a little bit tidier. But the downsides to this is it's just not big enough to get 4 cans wide, which is giving me quite a little bit of gap, but it's certainly a lot neater. It looks a lot tidier. And it's given me a little bit of room to work with, and add a few more items that could be not prolong, that could extend the life expectancy of this little micro pantry that I've got going on. A couple of days or weeks longer than it's looking now. So As you can see, that does look a little bit more tidier, with the exception of the stuff that's on the top. And you know, I could really use a little of the space that we have in the new unit that we found on the side of the street to put these items in. But we will be doing a little recipe later, because after all the hard work that I put into rearranging this, I've built up a little bit of an appetite. But before I eat, I'm going to reward myself with a smoke and maybe a cup of coffee. And maybe a little later we're going to make a video and do a recipe for you all. So that's what we've done. We've given it a complete makeover and a overhaul. We've got a little bit more space. Things are certainly a little bit more accessible than they were in the tubs. And definitely looking a lot more tidy than what it was. So that's about it. Not much else I can really tell you about this little makeover, modification and upgrade. So this has been a shit video production for the Thrift Store Prepper.